В Інституті Святого Володимира пройшла виставка «Подорож із українсько-єврейською зустріччю».
Виставка «A Journey through the Ukrainian Jewish Encounter from Antiquity to 1914» була створена та проведена українсько-єврейською зустріччю за допомогою Інституту Святого Володимира та Українського музею Канади відділу Онтаріо.
Українська єврейська зустріч пробує зближити єврейську громаду з українською громадою через завзяття і відданість пана Костя Темертея, котрий вірив, що хоч є багато упереджень з одної і другої сторони, краще би було і в Канаді, і для України, і для цілого світу, як євреї і українці співпрацювали. Ми бачимо виставку, що показує важність єврейської громади на українських землях, але також показує українську історію, розвиток українського національного руху. Для багатьох людей, котрі оглядають ту виставку, то є перший раз, що вони бачать разом перспективи українські і єврейські.
This exhibit conveys a number of interrelated messages. First of all, the very long history of Jews on Ukrainian lands. Jews have been present on Ukrainian lands for over 2,000 years. There was a Zhidov quarter in Kiev in the 9th, 10th century. Jews spoke Slavic at that time as their first language. Secondly, Jewish life and culture flourished on Ukrainian lands. Hebrew and Yiddish printing from the 17th century on. Ukraine was the place of origin of the Hasidic movement.
Ukraine for us was a place of great traditional Torah learning, and it was also the birthplace of modern Hebrew literature.
Many stately synagogues, the wooden synagogues, the beautifully decorated interiors of these synagogues. And it's clear that while there were times of crisis, there were also long stretches of normal life and a flourishing cultural life for Jews. Living side by side, these two peoples influenced each other's cultures. It went more from Ukrainians to Jews because Ukrainians were the majority. There was fusion of music and borrowing of the cuisine. Language is an area where there was a great deal of cross-cultural interaction, and it also in folk art and architecture and folklore and so on.
There is no real Jewish history without a Ukrainian history, and there is no real Ukrainian history without a Jewish history. Golda Meir, who was an original Ukrainian Jew, Mel Brooks, Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, Bob Dylan, Jon Stewart, all of them figure on a list of Jews with Ukrainian parentage and grandparents.
The important thing to take into consideration is the broader context, that these were two stateless peoples living in empires to which they were subjected, at times in oppressive ways. You had the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, Tsarist Russia, the Austrian Empire. Serfdom was a defining feature for Ukrainians in the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries, and suppression of Ukrainian culture in the 19th century. For Jews, you had restrictions, expulsions, blood libels, some unpretty things, but also normal times. But the times of conflict and crisis have overtaken the narrative, and as a result, we have two separate narratives that have become entrenched in the two communities.
For example, the Khmelnytsky uprising from 1648 to 1657, the Cossack rebellion against the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, is regarded by Ukrainians as an act of heroism and triumph, which marked the beginnings of an autonomous Ukrainian state. For Jews, however, the uprising is remembered as a decade of devastation and destruction, with an estimated 50,000 Jews killed or captured at the hands of Cossacks and the Crimean Tatars. On the other hand, the Ukrainian People's Republic was a period of wonderful coexistence, and the Republic maintained both Ukrainian and Yiddish as its official languages. It was the first modern state to establish a Ministry of Jewish Affairs, and all government positions and institutions had Jewish members.
How do we address stereotypes that have emerged because of the separate narratives and the times of conflict? The novelty of this exhibition is that it brings together the two narratives in one account. We want to bring about comprehension and acknowledgement of what are the historical facts, to what extent have the narratives been influenced by all kinds of factors that led to distortions.
What brings Ukrainians and Jews of Ukrainian origin together are the hardships that they confronted and their extraordinary ability to surmount challenges, persevere, and preserve their cultural, religious, and national identities.
This exhibit opens the door for discussion, for dialogue, as well as for debate. But it also opens the door for restoration, for repair, and for reconciliation.
It's an encounter in which we each examine the other inside ourselves. It's really about empathy. It's about empathy based on understanding and love.
Our government supports this initiative because the impact of this Canada-led project extends far beyond our borders. We will never stand for Russian occupation of Ukraine. Just like we stand for Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state and her right to defend herself.
The relationship today between the Ukrainian Canadian Congress and the Center for Israeli and Jewish Affairs is at an all-time high. We work very well together on many, many fronts, whether it's on Holocaust and Holodomor remembrance and recognition, whether it's on geopolitical affairs today, in particular in current-day Ukraine. We have commonly had positions, we have written joint articles together. Our friends in the Jewish Canadian community stood shoulder to shoulder with us during the Maidan Revolution, and continue to do so during today's war that Russia is waging against Ukraine. Together, we are stronger, and I look forward to continued strong Ukrainian-Jewish relations.
Матеріали виставки можна знайти на веб-сторінці Ukrainian Jewish Encounter.